Even in well-resourced organizations, Microsoft 365 tenancies often carry hidden vulnerabilities. They aren't usually caused by negligence. They arise from complexity, legacy decisions, or a lack of visibility. Here is a breakdown of the reasons why tenancies remain exposed. Most tenants have settings that were either configured incorrectly during setup or left behind from older environments or migration projects. These include permissions that were meant to be temporary, test accounts left active, or blanket access granted just to get things working while file servers are migrated to SharePoint. Some best practice configuration recommendations have just changed over time as new attack vectors have been discovered and exploited. Attackers know how to look for these weak spots. A misconfigured mailbox rule, an unmonitored admin account without MFA, or an exposed sharing link can all be a foothold into the entire environment. What seems like a small oversight becomes a major breach vector. Different administrators, departments, or service providers may apply their own security settings or best practice, leading to inconsistent protections in an environment. One user group may have MFA enforced and strict access controls, while another may not. Security should be systematic, not selective. Inconsistency creates blind spots where weaker users or services become low-hanging fruit for attackers. Worse, these weak spots are often invisible until they're exploited. Most tenants aren't equipped with the tooling or processes to monitor real-time user activity. Who granted a third-party application access last week? Who's logging in from Sudan at 2 AM on a Sunday? Without centralized visibility, these questions go unanswered, or worse, not asked at all. Threat actors often live off the land. They're trying to blend in with normal user activity. Without behavior monitoring, even high-risk actions like mailbox forwarding rules, privilege escalations, or unauthorized file sharing might never trigger alarms. You might have spent time hardening your environment, but without regular checks and policy enforcement, settings drift. New users are added, exceptions creep in, policies get disabled for convenience. CEOs traveling in China, let's suspend this policy until they get back in 8 weeks. We'll remember to change it back. Security is not a one and done exercise. Compliance must be maintained over time, especially in a dynamic cloud environment where changes in technology or infrastructure often happen daily. Without continuous enforcement, today's secure configuration is tomorrow's liability. Users can easily connect third-party apps to their Microsoft 365 account, sometimes unknowingly via OAuth consents. They can also delegate access to co-workers, consultants, or even external parties. These apps and delegates often operate under the radar of IT and security teams. If they're compromised, attackers can gain persistent API-level access to user data without even needing to breach an account. This is a growing blind spot in many organizations. Microsoft 365 tenancies are not vulnerable because the platform is flawed. They're vulnerable because of complexity, sprawl, and a lack of oversight. Open doors, attackers know how to exploit. Structured tenancy management helps close these gaps by bringing consistency, visibility, and more importantly, ongoing enforcement to your environment. Securing a 365 environment isn't a set and forget task. It's a living, evolving process. In modern cloud environments, change is constant. Users join, leave, change roles. Apps are added, permissions shift, and attackers are always adapting. This is why continuous monitoring and automated policy enforcement are not just beneficial, they're essential. Snapshot assessments are not enough. Many organizations, maybe because of insurance requirements or other policy, still rely on periodic reviews or one-off security audits to check their Microsoft 365 posture. These audits might highlight issues in the moment, but they become outdated almost immediately, especially with the speed of vulnerability discovery and attack these days. The risks in your tenant don't wait until the next audit to be exploitable. A new app connected by a user tomorrow, or a change in a user's access today, can silently open a door to compromise, and you won't know about it until Q2 next year. By then it's too late. Cloud security evolves rapidly. Just 5 years ago, basic MFA and mail filtering were seen as adequate security controls for an environment. Today we need behaviour analytics, real-time access control, and policy automation to stay ahead. Threat actors evolve faster than most organisations or IT departments. If a security approach is based on old best practice, it's not just falling behind, it's inviting risk. Security must be operationalised. Security isn't a checklist you tick once a year, unfortunately. It needs to be an ongoing, built-in part of your Microsoft 365 operations, just like patching, backups, or billing are for your BAU operations. This means having systems in place to detect risk, respond to change, and enforce policy, not just hoping everything stays the same. So how do we operationalize security? How do we know our policies are applied everywhere? It's not enough to have a policy, it needs to be applied universally. Are all of our users subject to MFA? Are legacy protocols turned off everywhere, or just for some users, or groups, or locations? Are conditional access rules applied consistently? Inconsistent policy enforcement creates soft spots attackers can exploit. One forgotten exception can be all it takes. Modern threats don't always look like malware. They often look like legitimate user activity. A successful phishing attack may result in a real login from a real IP address, just not where it makes sense. For example, John usually logs in from Auckland through Microsoft Edge on his Windows 11 device. 5 minutes later, John's account is logged in from Germany on a Mac with Safari. In John's behaviour pattern, that is not normal, so this is likely an account takeover. Without behaviour-based alerting, these red flags can go easily unnoticed. Over time, even well-secured tenants tend to drift. Maybe a setting is changed to try and resolve or test a support issue, or a new user is added without the right protections. Small changes add up. A tenant that was secure 6 months ago may no longer meet your own baseline, but unless you're actively monitoring that drift, you'd never know. Tracking and remediating configuration drift is the key to maintaining long-term security. Cloud security is not a destination, it's a process. This is true of security in general. Point-in-time reviews are very helpful, but they won't catch emerging risk, only the risk that is there right at the time. To protect your Microsoft 365 environment, you need active monitoring, behavioral insights, and enforcement mechanisms that run every day, not just during your next audit. Thank you for watching this video today. If you have any questions, please reach out to the team. If you like this video, please check out the other videos in the series. We'll see you next time.